Time now for our special guest for today's podcast. This is a man who has many, many hats, but he's decided to wear a cap that, actually has something from Paris 2024, which I quite like.
The rings.
Yes, because he was over there covering it for Channel 10. He is the current 10 News First sports presenter here in Perth. He is the former Perth Wildcats MC, hype man galore, and he is someone that you can hear regularly on ESPN's coverage of the NBL. I'm talking about a man who I would deem, Elijah Pepper, as probably the nicest man in media. Locky Reid is with us. Hello, Locky.
Hello, Lachy. How are you? And Sultan, how are you?
Sultan!
Salt and Pepper.
My dad thought about naming me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
See, this is what I've struggled with over the last few months, because I've always thought it should be Sergeant.
Sergeant
As
Pepper,
an
I
old
like
man
it. Yep.
who grew up with the Beatles, should be Sergeant. And then we have Todd Withers come in. Oh, no, it's Peppermint. It's like, oh, of course it's Peppermint. And Pep saying it's just Pep. And now you come in with Sultan.
Yeah. I stole it from somebody, but I'm going with it anyway.
I think that one that fits pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll try on Sultan and we'll see how we go. How are you? Because
I'm going well.
You've had an interesting last few months because you've had some time away from Australia. You've had a bit of a holiday, so you haven't been able to maybe watch as much of the Wildcats. But, you know, finals game the other night at Challenge Stadium, and you were up and about, sir.
Oh, no, it's been terrific. I mean, yes, was away in Europe while the Wildcats continued to win away from home, so kept in touch via X and Facebook and everything else that you do. That was a sensational period for them, and it's actually a good time for me because usually I commentate the home games, so that patch of 6 or 7 games where you were away, it was a good chance to go away and enjoy myself overseas, but always keep in touch with the Cats, and it was nice to see them on the winning run.
Yeah, it was good for a while. But how long have you been covering the Wildcats, and how specifically did you get started or get into it?
When were you born?
2001.
Before you were born, mate. A long time before you were born.
I love your setup for that.
Was it before or after Wags was born?
Actually, Wags probably was born. No, so 1995 is when I first came over to Perth, started studying broadcasting. So 1996, I sort of started, covering the Wildcats from a radio perspective. One of the rivals, didn't get a job at that stage at Triple M, but finally found the great place. And then all the way through from Channel 7 through to Channel 10. It's been a long, long time. So what's that? Nearly 30 years.
Yeah. Have you got your anniversary coming up or what?
Yeah, that's a long time, isn't it? We won't talk about that.
Got to put you in the rafters.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, we'll get to that a little bit later on.
Did we? I didn't even see that part.
No, I just might have something up our sleeve to ask that question. But anyhow.
Oh, is it just me this whole time?
This is the thing, because usually it's
I'm
Pep
used
going
to
back and forth.
Used to Mila helping me out here. Yeah. Give it a second.
I wouldn't say you're going solo. I will help out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think
I can go a little solo here.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
But what's more fun between commentary and then the on-court announcing?
Oh, look, as a young guy, the on-court announcer, the guy, the hype man running around being a lunatic is the most fun of all time. Like it's...
I've heard it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, it is good fun. You don't exactly go by the rules. You might stretch the rules a little bit to have a little bit more fun. But as an old man like I am now, commentary is ideal because I get to sit down. I won't do my calf by running around,
that's
which
on
I
here,
did
don't worry.
do in a game as a hype man. So, no, look, as a youngster, loved doing the on-court. I mean, I grew up playing basketball. I was never any good at it, but I loved it. Still love the sport. Still love being involved in the Perth Wildcats. Been over, 25, 26 years where I've been associated with the club in a way. And just love the club. So, being involved as an on-court announcer is just ideal. But now being a commentator, which been in the media for a long period as well, that's always been a real privilege to be able to call NBL games, not just Perth Wildcats ones, but NBL games in general, and seeing all the great players is just ideal.
When did you give up the on-court announcing?
So I've had 2 stints at it. So I'm a 4-time champion now of the Perth Wildcats and the NBL as a courtside announcer.
Do you get tattoos for it?
I've actually got a ring. I've got an NBL ring. The Wildcats gave me a ring after we won in 2016. I think it was Bryce's year where he came in the latter half of the season
Who
and
did you
carried
steal
the
it
team.
from?
No, they actually presented it to me, Lachy. They thought I did a decent job. So, no, look, I was courtside announcer in 99 through to about 2012 for about 13 years. Then I went to do TV commentary, and then I came back in the middle. I think it was 2016, 2017 when they won back-to-back titles. Bryce came late in the season and then continued on his merry way to win 2 in a row. So I did a couple of years there, and I've just filled in over the last few years. So they bring me back for the the Heritage Game and all that sort of stuff. They bring me back for that, and that's about enough because I run out of puff.
They need an old voice once in a while.
Yeah, Neil does a magnificent job, so I leave it to the younger Neil to rule the roost there on court.
You've basically you've done the commentary for all of Bryce's career here. How upset were you to see that he missed the 59-point game against New Zealand?
Well, I wasn't there. I could not believe it. So I have pretty much seen every Wildcats game, whether you're there live or whether you watch it on TV. There is a rare game that I would have missed over 30 years. And I was down south. My son had just got married, and we'd all gone down south as a family to just enjoy the next week. And I was trying to do the right thing by the family and not watch the basketball, and all of a sudden the Twitter feed started pumping out. I've got the Wildcats on, so whenever they tweet, it sort of comes up on my phone, and I'm looking, and he's got 30. He's got 40. So I sort of did sneak away into the toilet area to just watch the last sort of, few points of Bryce in that 59-point game. So I saw about probably 3 minutes of that game, then watched it on replay.
3 minutes could be like 20 points worth for him.
It was amazing. It was an incredible game. I did rewatch it, and you play with him each and every week. You know how good he is and how good he can make other players as well. I think that's the beauty of him, is that he can score points, but he's also very unselfish as well, likes to get other players involved in the game. So he's been the ultimate. And disappointing to see that one, but I think I've seen enough Bryce over the years to enjoy what he puts up.
A little break from him for every once in a while.
That's right.
Given you missed that one specific game, is there a favorite moment or favorite game that you've called?
Probably, all the championships have been great to be involved in. I don't throw a basketball or dribble a basketball down a court, but you feel involved. And I think that's the beauty of the Perth Wildcats. The players in particular, they make you, the fans and also the people that work with you, they make you feel part of that team. You celebrate in style after you hit 3 or 4 3-pointers in a row, and you look into the crowd and you involve the crowd.
They call timeout. You're getting your hands up. Yeah.
So you feel like the team, and I think that's the beauty of the Red Army. They all feel like this team, and the team does a great job to involve them on game nights, and even you go to a lot of schools and all the functions that you do. So, look, championships were great. The first one was awesome because that was my first year in doing the courtside, and it was a new ownership and a whole new team, and they won it in 2000, so that was pretty cool. There were a couple of games where, as a courtside announcer, we were down one game against, I think it was the Hunter Pirates by 24 points at half time.
Who?
Yeah. They used to be called the Hunter Pirates. They're from Newcastle. And they were terrible, mate. And we were down at half time by 24 points.
Explains why they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's right. And
Sorry, Hunter
the
Pirate
crowd
fans.
went so berserk for the second half. I think I actually had them standing for the whole last quarter. I didn't let them sit down, and we came back and won that game. So that was a game that was really memorable because I sort of felt like I had an influence over the result. I didn't, because it was the players who scored the points, but, I'll claim it.
The crowd gives a lot more energy and help than you think, though.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up because I know we've talked a little bit about how much can you actually hear the crowd when you're out there. Sometimes you can't really hear it, you're locked in. But there are big moments where they can absolutely bring you guys up. And I'd imagine something like, 24 points down, you need something to bring you guys up and about. The crowd, an MC like a Locky, Reid or a Neil Barnard really do help.
Yeah, no, they 100% do, especially because you guys are the ones that you're telling them to stand up, you're getting them on your feet, you're telling them to make some noise. And then obviously the plays have to be made to keep them doing that. Like if you're telling them to stand up and we're 0 for 10 and not making a shot, nobody's going to keep standing. But
there's moments in the game, there's no doubt, where you can feel that maybe you've hit a 3 and there's a little bit of buzz. So then you go, righto, come on, crowd, we've got to get behind these boys because there just feels like there's something that's happening right now. So
you can feel it building up.
Yeah.
It's like tension, literally tension in the air. I get chills thinking about I've had a couple times here where I've hit a 3 and it just erupts.
Yeah.
And I get chills thinking about that. I did it all in college. In college, we didn't get a lot of fans. We got maybe 4,000 fans. Even in high school, thinking about it, and you could just like, you know, when you hit a three and you know a timeout's going to be called, and you just get so, like, I get chills thinking about some of those moments.
Yeah.
And
I
it's the
think
coolest thing.
Perth fans, they know their basketball too. So they know if you're feeling it, or if Bryce is ready to fire, or if Doo's just going to take over for a patch in the game, or Keanu Pinder's, up and about. They know. So then they start to rise out.
They can feel, you can feel it. Like KP gets a couple offensive rebounds, layups, and then next thing you know, he's got a breakaway steal for a dunk, or Doo scoring 15 in a row. Dylan hits 3 threes in a row, anything like that. Yeah. And you can just feel like the energy in the air. It's actually absurd how that kind of just works, how you just know what's going to happen kind of thing.
And there would have to be a sense of the opposing team coming to town trying to beat Perth a little bit more than other teams around the competition, because Perth play in a world-class arena. Mm-hmm. They've got fans that are absolute diehards. They live and breathe every shot, every win or loss. And I reckon opposing teams would come in here and they would notch the RAC Arena game on their calendar and go, that's the game we really want to win. I know playoffs are important, but we want to beat Perth in Perth. That's the biggest game of the season.
They see it as a statement game.
That's
they really
probably the second best feeling, is shutting a giant crowd down like that.
Yeah.
Just like you guys did against Sydney a couple of weeks back.
Yeah. So,
that was fun. Hey, I got to ask you, because you have seen Bryce Cotton a little bit this season, including a time where he made a big dunk and your voice completely went.
Yes.
What happened there?
Can we play that first? Do we have a video?
I'll tell you what, I'll edit it into the
that'd be great.
Here it is right now. We've heard it. It's great. If I'd prepped that in advance, sure, it'd been great.
Mate,
anyway.
If you saw a passage of play where it went down the end of the court, I think Windler stole it or kept it in play.
Yes. Was this his dunk this year?
Yeah.
The putback dunk.
The putback.
Yeah.
So Windler's whipped it back to Henschel, who had just hit, I think, 2 threes a few moments before. So it was like I was rising because Henschel might have just hit another 3. Yes. And then I saw the little man running on the outside thinking, if he's missed it, the little man's getting it. And I shouldn't say little man because I don't think he likes me calling him little man. And he runs and he gets it with a big tip-in jam, put-back jam. I lost my voice, lost all control of everything throughout my body.
Oh, God.
It was extremely exhilarating.
I love it. Go on, Pep.
You did say a little earlier you had a calf injury.
Yeah.
Do you want to kind of share how that happened? And apparently you might have had to take some days off work.
I didn't have to take days off work because I'm very, very brave and I fought through the pain, Elijah Pepper. I was actually on crutches for the week. No, I did, and it was a season. It was 2 seasons ago, so it was before your time, mate. It was a game where Perth had to win by 10 points or more to make it through to the playoffs or to secure themselves into the playoffs. So, and they did it. It was a missed shot in the last seconds by the opposition. I think it might have been Phoenix or somebody. And I got a little excited, Elijah. I don't jump. I don't run. I don't do any sort of activity in my life.
True, yeah.
This time I actually jumped in the air in celebration. And it was like someone, and I now know what athletes say, when you sort of do your Achilles or your calf, you feel like someone shot you from behind.
Oh, yeah.
It was
It's like
seriously
cramp
like
almost.
that, yeah. And I thought it was cramp for that brief little moment until I literally couldn't get off the ground.
You realize it really hurts.
Yeah, and then I had to do an on-court interview with a player, but I couldn't literally walk over to that player, so I had to make Jesse Wagstaff walk to me. And he's going, "What are you doing?" I go, "I've done my calf," and he just starts laughing at me. So yeah, did my calf on crutches for about a week and a half, and then very sore for about 3 weeks.
Did the crowd know that it was 10 points, or because the crowd would be some people, you just be like, "Oh, we're at 10. Why is everybody so excited?"
Yeah, no, they knew that there was a certain margin that the team had to win by to get through to the next stage.
I'd put it up on the board so everybody knows.
Yeah, but they knew, and everyone jumped. I mean, I was the only one. Well, everyone jumped, and I jumped as well, but I was probably the only one that injured my calf. And I literally thought I'd torn it and would never walk again. And the Wildcats physio just laughed at me and said, "Oh, mate, it's a what is it? A stage 1 calf injury, mate. It's barely a tear, and I'm on crutches."
Gosh,
I've never had any of that popping stuff, so knocking on wood there.
Because
Hopefully
you're not an old man yet.
Hopefully I don't have to deal with it.
Right, you're not 50.
Calf is an old man injury. We're aware of that. We're very aware of that.
Is there any other injuries that you have that you've just not said anything about?
No, I've never been injured in my life, mainly because I was plays bruise-free football and basketball in my life. So, no, that was the only injury that I've ever had. I think I might have, sprained a finger or something like that. But, nothing major like that.
Okay, righto. Hey, I want to take you back to, I think it was the 2018-2019 season. And there's a memorable moment, and I think it's quite iconic in the whole of the NBL. Bryce Cotton hitting a three, looking back at a colleague of yours, Corey Homicide Williams. And that was just...
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah, it is one of the most remarkable sort of bits of vision in NBL, especially for the last, sort of decade or so. And, of course, recently we did lose Corey Homicide Williams. He was a great antagonist in terms of pretty much any basketball team. But I think Wildcats fans sort of enjoyed the Giants.
Oh, he targeted the Wildcats.
Absolutely.
I mean, rest in peace. He's just a legend. But
he was a great advocate of the NBL and someone that you got to work with. Can you talk a little bit about Corey?
Such a nice guy. Like, it was quite amazing. He was a player who played for Townsville, and he liked to stir up the crowd, and in particular the Perth Wildcat fans back in the old days at Challenge Stadium. And then when he became a commentator, there was no doubt he came to town or the NBL and had decided Wildcats is the biggest market. I'm going to try and rev him up a little bit and get offside, and continue would say, Bryce Cotton's not as good as everyone's pumping him up to be. And then there was a stage, obviously, where they were bottom of the ladder and they were struggling a little bit, and Cats aren't going to make finals. And then Bryce turned it on, and, the Wildcats made the finals and stormed away to win the championship. So he absolutely targeted the Wildcats. You thought, if I rev up them, I'm going to get great interaction social media-wise. But that moment was iconic. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Bryce obviously took a lot of it personally and thought, I'm going to actually play at my very best here, and I'm going to remind him that I'm one who's a very good player, and the Perth Wildcats are a great team, and we're going to go to the finals. So, hit the big three. It was a massive three in the context of the game, and then turned to Corey and just looked at him and started mouthing off at him. I just went, well, he's having a crack at you. Like, I've never seen that from a player. Like, verbally just go at the commentator. Like, usually you're trying to, as a player, nothing, no outside noise. I'm not going to get affected by it. But Bryce obviously had enough, and he wanted to get it off his chest. So, and Corey just laughed, and he thought, oh, that's beautiful. Well done to you. You got your team to the finals, and you got yourself a championship. So, well done.
Throwing it back even possibly a little farther than that, Challenge Stadium days, you were on the verge of getting fined.
Yeah. Did you enjoy playing at Challenge Stadium, which was the HPC the other night?
It was good. We didn't even sell it out or anything because it was. But it was still really good. I mean, really good atmosphere, and it's smaller, so it kind of gave off the same atmosphere as like Tassie does. Yeah, Tassie has a pretty small arena, but they pack it out, and it's loud in there.
Oh, it's the best stadium for basketball. Like, I've done Entertainment Centre, which was sort of in the city, just up the road from the Perth Arena. That was pretty cool, but it was dark on the outsides. Yes. It was a bit of a different stadium. Then you go to Challenge Stadium, which was smaller. It was like your tin shed out the back, but the fans are all over the opposition. And I think it's
a lot closer to the court, too.
Yeah, I think it's the most intimidating venue probably in sport in Australia. I mean, sometimes it just got really raucous in there, and sometimes a little ugly as well. Yeah. It used to sort of cop fines because you're not, as a courtside announcer back then, you weren't supposed to get out of your chair. You were supposed to stay in your seat and just, pepper 3 points, and keep it nice and neutral between two teams. I may have stretched the boundaries just a touch on that.
You started that trend.
Yeah, I started the trend and caused a bit of mayhem, but it was all to try and rev up a venue and to try and get an advantage for our team. That's the job of the courtside announcer. So, yes, there was one stage where Andrew Vlahoff said to me that, mate, I'm getting these emails from the NBL. They're telling you to sit down. I've been telling him, nah, it's all part of the fun, and he doesn't do anything wrong. But, maybe just for this game, you might want to sit down on your chair. And so I pretty much tied a chair to my ass and walked around the stadium with the chair, which legitimately I didn't get off my chair, Lachy. So I played by the rules and never got fined. But I think it was like a $5,000 fine if I'd broken any rules. So it was pretty tense for a time.
That's just you using your nous.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly right. Yes. Now, we're going to power through a couple of questions because I know that you're a very busy man. So quickly, how many times have you replayed your half-court shot at 3/4 time.
Have you seen it, Elijah Pepper,
I have
half
not.
court shot?
We need
mate,
to
go on
get these
YouTube.
videos uploaded,
Yeah,
man.
Locky Reid half court shot on YouTube.
Oh, jeez, I'm just asking a question.
How many times have I watched
Yeah,
it?
how many times?
I'll look it
It's
up right
on
now.
repeat at home.
Locky Reid half court shot.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It'll come straight up.
Oh, of course it will.
It'll come straight up.
That'll be about 40 different videos.
I
before,
tried the big fish slide afterwards in the
Yes.
celebration, but I wasn't sweaty enough, so I pretty much just landed on the ground like a seal.
Oh,
just
here
like,
we are.
whoop.
Oh, here we
Is it
go.
coming up?
He's about to watch
Yeah.
it.
Here we go. Here I am, mate. Right, half court, revving up the crowd. That's what it's all about.
The quality on this is like the.
Yeah, well, it was back in 1900s.
Yeah.
Oh, that's solid. Feet are like 3 feet behind the line.
Yeah. And look at the celebration too. Made sure everyone knew about it.
Now, is that in sepia tone or black and white, that video?
It's just really, really blurry.
Yeah, just like pixels
Now, Elijah
galore.
Pepper, so I did the
Oh, you
slide
did a
there.
slide.
Yeah, so Scott Fisher, who used to play for the Perth Wildcats, legend of the Perth Wildcats, used to, after every win at the end of the game, rev up the crowd, and the crowd would all clap with him, and then he would run down the court and he would slide along the court. I want you to start that tradition. On Saturday, if you win, the Fish said he will do it as well. So if you could
I'll
stand
do it. If he
alongside
does the
him,
slide, I'll do it
you'll
with
do it
him.
with him? All right.
He's got to come get. He's got to come get me, but I'll
get
do it with
Neil
him.
Barnard to come over and get the Fish and you can do the slide together.
All
I
right.
love it.
I'm in.
Okay, I'm in for that. I want
Neil,
to see it happen.
get it done.
Can't Neil. Biggest basketball story you've broken?
There's a couple. Probably Alex Sarr coming to town. It was a nervous moment. It was a good story because not many had heard of Alex Sarr over here, and he was going to come over as the next star, and there was huge raps on him. And the nervous part of it was I'd done it I don't even know when it was. It was in May. I'd broken the story, but no one would confirm it. So the club, I kept ringing the club going, are you confirming it? Oh, no, we haven't got any news for you. And then the NBL, no. So for a month, I was very, very nervous that I'd actually got it wrong. But in the end, he came and he was a champion and got drafted and everything like that.
Did you have to deal with someone from like the current media team, the Wildcats, in order to get that story? Or
No, I didn't actually.
okay.
He gives me nothing. He gives me nothing.
Poor Jordan.
Yeah. And I also broke Luke Longley buying the Perth Wildcats. Very funny story. I'll tell it very quickly. Luke Longley,
Hey, take
NBA
your time,
legend.
as long as you want.
Michael Jordan, played with Michael Jordan at the Bulls. And so I'd heard news that he, Andrew Vlahoff, and Luke Longley were going to buy the Perth Wildcats. Vlahoff wouldn't really give me too much. He wasn't thing, but so I thought, well, Luke's back in town after just winning the 1998 NBA championship with Michael Jordan. I'll give him a call. He'll answer. He was down south. Phone rings, and he actually did answer. And you get that nervous moment of, I'm talking to Luke Longley.
Oh gosh, he actually
This is
answered.
pretty cool. So what am I ringing him for?
did your voice break in that moment as well?
I would have, yeah, there's no doubt. And in the end, I said to him, and Luke is the greatest bloke of all time, just the nice, for a legend of Australian basketball, he's just the greatest bloke. And I said, Luke, I'm told that you and Andrew Vlahoff are going to buy the Perth Wildcats. And I paused, and he goes, Locky, I can't confirm or deny. And I got off the phone going, it's happening. If it's the old can't confirm or deny, it is happening. So, broke that story. And then a week later, because Andrew Vlahoff wasn't very happy with me breaking the story because negotiations were a little tense at that time, I had the balls to actually ring him and say, can I be your courtside announcer this season? And he said, yeah, no worries, mate. He'd forgotten about it completely once he bought the team. So, yeah.
Well done on that.
Anyway.
Oh, I thought you had another one. I'm sorry.
I'll go
Go one more.
quickly.
You said you were going rapid fire here.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, now
And
we're
then
really
I'm
slowing
talking
down.
too much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the story for life. Saturday night just gone. Greg Hire inducted into the Hall of Fame, and you're pretty close with Greg Hire. Great moment.
Awesome moment. Just one of the ultimate team guys. Greg Hire might not have scored the points and been a hero in any great, although I think he was close to being MVP of the Grand Final Series in 2014. James Ennis won it, but I reckon Greg had just as much influence as James Ennis. But yeah, the heart and soul of the club. So it was a real treat to see him win that. Yeah, he's a ripping guy, does great things in the community, but also was a great player, and I think that's underestimated a little bit.
To finish this off, you want to give us your finals prediction
Finals prediction.
and how far you think the Wildcats end up?
It's interesting. I spoke to Locky about this on Friday at a function, and I think you'll like this answer.
I actually think you can win it. I'm pretty bullish after seeing your last 3 games of the season because I think it was the first time since mid-November that you had your full team together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think depth-wise, if you have your full team together, you will, over a 3-game series and then possibly a 5-game series, I think depth comes into play, and that's where you come into play, Elijah Pepper, where you'll get extra minutes because it's a quick turnaround Thursday to Saturday.
2 days, 3 days.
So you'll the depth guys, the guys on the bench that might not have been getting minutes in the last few games of the season will start being needed because, it's such a, playoffs are huge and energy sapping and everything like that. So I think your depth is pretty good. Obviously, you've got to get past Melbourne. Is there a bit of mental scars there because you can't beat them? I'm
Absolutely
not sure.
not.
We'll find out on Thursday. You win game 1 and it sets it up for quite an interesting finish to the year.
And quickly, who's going to induct you into the Wildcats Hall of Fame? Because it's going to happen.
I don't know.
Got brought up at the ball? Got brought up at the ball?
I wasn't there, so.
No, I know you were.
Missed
Someone at the Wildcats ball, Greg High, I was like, we're going to get Locky Reid into the Hall of Fame. And I think that makes sense.
Players, mate.
I'll sign the petition.
Now, excuse me, it can't be just about the players. I mean, the legend that is Jack Bendat also inducted into the
he
Hall of Fame.
owned the team and spent a fortune on it and ran it beautifully.
Yeah.
All I did was grab a microphone and yell and scream for a couple of years.
But there is someone that has got to set the tone for what it's like being at a Wildcats game.
Yeah.
And for a very long time, you were a big part of that. And anytime anyone talks about going to Wildcats games, every time, is Locky still doing it? Is Locky doing it? Like, Locky, he was amazing. He was great. And then, of course, nothing against anyone else who's done it. But you managed to sort of change how being the MC at the Wildcats game, like the hype man, was completely done here in WA.
Oh, look, I've had fun. It's been great. Wildcats, great club, great. They've included my family the whole time through. So, it's a privilege just to be part of the club in some form, and they look after me and I look after them. It's a good relationship, but I'd like Elijah Pepper to hit 24 points in game 1 of the semi-final series. That would be what I want the most.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, exactly. Former MC of the Wildcats and now 10 News first sports presenter. Please, whatever you do, make sure you watch him. Of course, NBL commentator, jack of all trades, commentates footy for Triple M, who of course half of the partnership that Southern Cross Austereo have with us and Mix 94.5.
Yeah, that's right.
You,
Jack of all trades, no good at any, mate. But we'll have a go.
Locky Reid, thank you so much for joining us on the Perth Wildcast.
Thank you.
Great fun. Locky Reid, seriously. Great man to spend lots of time with. I get the pleasure of being able to work with Locky Reid when we do Triple M footy. And as I said before, Pep, nicest man you'll meet in media. He is absolutely
pretty nice. Pretty nice guy.
Pretty nice. Who's higher on the list then in that case while he's sitting in this
just
room?
Can't happen to think of him.
It
sneaks away from my brain right now.
Very good from you. Very good. Okay, so playoffs, as we said, starts on Thursday. The one thing you reckon that we need to do in order to stop United?
The controllables was our big thing that we kind of talked about. It's not one big thing. It's more a bunch of little things. So like transition, offensive rebounds, personnel points, letting those guys do what they're good at doing instead of trying to take that away and making them score where they're not the most efficient at. They're professionals. They're going to score no matter what. But taking away their best offense and making them score in a different way is going to make them less efficient, therefore more points for us, less points for them, we win. But taking away a lot of those things that we can control, offensive points or offensive rebound points, that's obviously just effort, hustle. And then transition is another one. Just you scored, don't celebrate. A lot of their points on transition, their games against us were off of our made baskets.
Yeah.
Instead of misses. And sometimes it's you get there's one KP had a dunk. And I think some of the guys kind of maybe celebrated or got really excited for it, and they get the ball in really quick, inbound it, get down and get a layup. His dunk doesn't matter anymore. So just stuff like that, the things that we can control. I think they scored 56% of their points in things that we could control and limit. So if we're able to, limit that to 30%, that's a lot less points, and that puts us in a lot better position.
Game 1, Thursday, 4:30 p.m. A tip-off here in the West. The game is happening in Melbourne. And then, as I said before, if you haven't got tickets yet for the game, game number 2 at RAC Arena, Saturday, 5 p.m. tip-off. Get them now, wildcats.com.au. I'm hoping that we come back, say, next week, maybe end of next week, and we're talking about how we're pumping up for the grand final series.
That's the goal.
That would be fantastic. And who knows? we might even be, the highest team in this. Could, if
Yeah,
we get to the grand final.
go Southeast in that situation as well.
Could very
we'll
well happen.
also be technically used to playing in at the same arena.
I know. Tell me about it.
So
Yeah.
good luck to Southeast specifically.
But whoever we take on, it won't matter because we'll be after them. Best of luck, Pep.
Thank you very much.
It's been a busy week for you. And again, congratulations on being able to play for the Boomers, the Perth Wildcast. We'll, fingers crossed, be back again next week or in the next couple of weeks or so. As we said, make sure that you get your tickets for Game 2 of the playoff series, wildcats.com.au. And of course, we'll have another podcast very, very soon, which you can get from the Listener app, LISTNR. See you soon.